Welcome back, guys. My name is RandomVictory, and today I am doing a podcast with a very good friend.
Hey, StarDuelist 200. Hey guys.
Today we are talking about the changes, the new sets, the future of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. Because we're both into both those card games. So today we're talking about that. But I would like to announce that Random Victory is not just a channel, and if this channel can become great, a card shop will be opening up. I can't reveal the location. Even if this doesn't blow up, I will still create that card store. But that is it. Just a small little announcement, something for the future. But today, should we start with you, Gil? Then.
Oh, we could, yeah. I mean, with the new Code of the Duelist set coming around the corner in August, yeah, we can do it. Uh, Basically, everyone knows if you're have been following up on the news of Yu-Gi-Oh that Link Summoning coming up
Mm-hmm.
really soon. Like on August 4th, that's when Code of the Duelist, and this month the new Yu-Gi-Oh Rain starter deck for 2017 comes out, and it contains Link Summoning in it. I know Link Summoning has been a very controversial topic, even with you, Random Victory.
Yep.
You've been kind of concerned about that, but yeah, Link Summoning's coming out. I'm hyped for it. I support it. I mean, I don't hate for it. I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks that Pendulums got knocked down. Exceeds, Random Victory's favorite cards, got nerfed too,
Yep.
and Synchros. But for me, I kind of like feel that Link Summoning slows down the game a little bit and makes older decks like let's think of let's see like slower paced decks, like lower tier decks, a little more advantage, like a little more faster pace. Now the
Mm-hmm.
meta decks are kind of like slow down. But yeah, I think Link Summoning's actually a healthy thing for this game.
It
What
does.
do you think about?
Well, for my deck, I personally do not like really using the main meta decks when they usually are announced because it takes way too much money, and I have already built a pretty decent deck that goes against most decks. Not every top tier deck, but some of them it can go against. It's a Utopia deck. It was nerfed, of course. I can't spam my Utopias anymore like I used to, but
No.
I will just have to find a way to modify it where I will just have to summon one monster. It,
Or you can try to run links because how the link summoning mechanic works, it kind of forces some players to use links that they want to spam. But you could tech like maybe 2 or 3 links in your deck, and the rest can be exceed monsters.
true, true.
Because I mean, they don't completely shut down like exceed summoning, synchro summoning. At least they do open up extra spaces for other monsters. Maybe you can just play like 3 Utopias or I don't know, any other XC monsters like Castiel, any other rank 4 2 box you can use.
Yeah. But it seems like they're trying to milk it because they're running out of ideas or new methods. Like, they had, of course, first it was Ritual, Fusion, Synchros,
Bro, see,
Exceeds, Pendulums,
and
and now they're
that,
trying to add Cybers, Link Monsters. Um, it seems like they're trying to bring a new method to for the
new
new players, but
a new game mechanic basically.
yeah, but all the ones who remember the original rules, just with added rules for the new cards, remember how it was used to play. It's just they're adding way too many zones now. Like we used to have the pendulum zones in the side, and now they're moved downward, and
But
now
that's kind of like how they should have been from the beginning. I mean, their
yeah, they should have
technicality
done
style
that.
cards. They should have done that when they introduced Pendulum Monster. So the only new zones they added were the new extra deck zones. So basically, that's a place where any when you summon a monster from your extra deck, like Synchros, Exceeds, Fusions, or Pendulums too, because that counts. You summon it in that zone. Don't think there's only 2 zones, and if you claim one, your opponent gets the other zone. Basically, you're only
True.
allowed one zone, unless you link summon. Basically, it's kind of like they're forcing you to play link summon, but you don't have to if you don't want to. There's decks out there that don't even use the extra deck.
True.
Like Domain Monarchs, they don't use the extra deck. I think no, Burning Abyss, they use the extra deck. I think they just rely on 1 or 2 Exceed.
Well, there's Blue Chaos Max Dragon for Blue Eyes, I think, right?
True. But also they do have a synchro too.
And then Luster, Luster Soldier.
Oh yeah. But yeah, there's decks out there that don't really use the extra deck. I mean, people can start using that instead. If they don't want to use links or they don't like special summoning, they can just go with like Monarchs or like those other decks with no extra deck.
True, but the thing is that we have trap monsters. When I was expecting eventually they would release monster spells, just like trap monsters, and they would. When pendulums came out, they had like they were treated as spells when they went to their pendulum zone. So I thought they were spell monsters, kind of like the trap monsters, but ended up being a completely different method.
Yeah. Even they made Synchros and Exceed pendulum monsters.
True. And then for all the new players, rules are gonna change, and it might become more difficult for them. This game doesn't seem like it's played for younger audience anymore. It's more like towards teens.
Over the years, Yu-Gi-Oh has become more complex. Like if you started back in the day, like when Yu-Gi-Oh first came out, it was just simple text like, let's talk about Man-Eater Bug. You just flip it face up and it says destroy 1 card on the field. That's simple. But nowadays they're coming with cards like a whole entire paragraph effect, where you have to keep. It's like a whole entire essay on a single card, and that's why it's making newer players to get back, or players that left the game and are coming back to it, or new players. It's kind of a little more complex for them because they have to read it a little bit more, understand it a little more than like back in the past where it was just flip a card, draw 1 card, or some. Oh, like Pot Agreed, just play the card, draw 2 cards. Like simple.
And everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like in the past, it didn't really matter which deck you made. It depends on the cards you would use and how you would use them. It was strategy. Now it depends on if it's meta. It's great. Exactly, archetypes.
It became back in the past. It was more like random cards. Like you just find cards that you think work together, and it's just a single card. Nowadays, it's all about archetypes. Like the top meta deck now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zodiacs.
Yep.
Zodiacs are just dominating the meta. Like from what I know, in European YCQ World Championships, that there was 53% of the people that were playing Zodiacs. All Zodiacs was 53%.
Oh, before we continue, I would like to say that StarDuelist 200 is more knowledgeable when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. I know some of it, not all the mechanics. So I'm mostly knowledgeable when it comes to Pokemon. But
yes, he knows more Pokemon than I do.
Yeah, a lot of things have been changing, and some decks actually still stay good. Galaxy Eyes and Cypher are still great decks to play.
Actually, I still want to try them out, but they're expensive.
Oh yes, just the main deck build is around $80, and my deck was probably in a total of around $40 to make, and it didn't take that long. But some of the cards were released years before the English versions were released, so that's some of the problems.
Yeah.
Like
the deck I have is only like $30. It came out in a structure deck. Let me see. I think it's called Master of Pendulum Structure Deck. My Pendulum
Yes.
deck is, and it's only like $30, but it works really good. But sadly, when we go into Link format, Links kind of hurt Pendulum. So, rip Pendulum.
For me, if I would still play with the link summoning method, I would have to probably get rid of every Utopia I have, still keep them, but I would replace probably 3 cards with 3 Utopia Lightning, because Utopia Lightning deck is mostly made for an OTK at first turn. And but the problem is that card itself is around 30 or 40 bucks English print, and that's the single. I could get it cheaper, but I would have to buy 3 copies of the last manga, and I don't want 3 copies of one.
True. But yeah. I mean, also another thing to do when Link Format comes out, like one turn OTK decks like Exodia or like that burn deck, chain burn. Those also would be good decks to go to if you don't want to link something. Those just burn you, and then Exodia, of course, all you have to do is just get your Exodia pieces. You don't have to really worry about the extra deck.
Yes, yeah.
And chain burn, you just troll people and get people salty.
Well, it seems like the decks that won't be getting nerfed is mostly ritual decks and, well, normal decks.
Yeah, rituals too. They're unaffected by. They don't get nerfed by link summoning.
So if you have a ritual deck, you're pretty lucky.
Basically, if you have a Necros deck, you're actually pretty lucky. But sadly, some of Necros's their strongest cards are on the list, like limited to 1. I don't remember what they are, but they kind of went down on power back from their heyday when they were actually meta. But Necros would be a good deck to pick up when Link Summoning comes around.
The problem is, how many people are gonna be completely disappointed when they have already spent so much money on building the main archetype deck, Zodiacs, because I'm pretty sure they're not gonna like it. And if they try to resell it, it's just gonna be lowered price. You won't get your price match.
Well, so far what I know about the OCG list, the ban list that came out not too long ago, what I heard is that they only got one of their cards banned, but people are still playing it with Link format. I mean, actually, Zodiacs are actually topping tournaments over there in Japan. They're still doing really good, even though they're in Link format. You can still pull off one of their combos.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they're still doing good.
That's the one biggest problem between Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, cards like what you just said, Zodiacs, their sets already came out, because the Duelist for them already came out, so all the new rules are already in effect, but they can still play well. It would just take a bit longer because you can't spam. But for Pokemon, they remove some of the cards and then they lower. Example, Roaring Skies is going to be moved in August, and the main card from that set is the Shaman EX that has the amazing ability. And it will go from $50 probably around 20 or lower. It's still going to be good and expanded, but everyone's standard. It's not like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you can play with any of the cards of any set as long as they're legal or in proper amount.
Yeah, it's basically Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a list, and Pokemon, like kind of like Magic too. Magic also does what Pokemon does, is that they do set rotation. They make it so power creep doesn't really affect them basically that much. Like, older cards get put out of the tournament, so it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you can still use older cards, but it basically keeps control on the power creep in Pokemon and Magic, I think.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the difference. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami, what they do is that when a deck does really good, like let's say after Nationals, let's say if Zodiac, well, let's just put this example. Let's say Zodiac beats National, it's been doing that for a while, and Konami's like, okay, this deck had too much, it's too strong. We made it too strong, too many people are using it, so we have to give it a rest. We have to make the other decks go up to the meta. So what they would do is target one of their main cards and ban it, basically. And that's basically
Yep.
what stop. Okay, this deck's no longer good. What other good decks we can go to? So that's when people start. Like when a new set comes out, there's always new archetypes, and people will go to the new stronger archetypes.
So if
Basically,
the effect is too good or too great that well your opponent can't really do much, they will just ban that card.
pretty much. Most people would just like if a card's really broken, sometimes they would abuse it. Like a Zodiac's been using Broad Bowl and Trident, mostly Trident because Trident's like the best card. And also they have Zodiac Barrage too. That's another good card. That basically helps out Zodiac. So I bet if Konami later in the future, if they decide that Zodiac needs to, pipe down, they can target any one of those cards because those are the strong cards. And I don't know how the effect will be, but I think Zodiacs will be less powerful, and people will be like, okay, this deck is done for. Let's just move on to the next,
Okay.
basically.
Because I know that in Pokemon, ban cards aren't really a thing, except if the game is taken a long time. For example, the only two cards that have been banned so far in this new in the I think it was from the expansion from X and Y series, and I think a little bit of Black and White. I'm not really sure. It was the Lysander's trump card that would allow you to shuffle every card from your discard pile back into your deck. And the problem was there that the game would just last forever. It would never end practically. And if you could have 4 copies, well, that's literally forever. And then another card was a shift tree that, if played or attached energy, I forgot how it. I remember the main effect. I forgot how it's affected. How the effect goes in play, but it was that it would send the active Pokemon back into your owner's hand with every card attached to it, or back into their deck. So technically, you would just get rid of one of their monsters completely, so their main monster is gone. So 4 copies of him would literally be a monster, and then figure out how to bring it back into your hand and reactivate that effect. That would be troublesome, and
Wow,
that is a problem.
that's a little too much.
Yes. And then
See,
what did you
dang,
want to say?
that's too strong.
Yeah, they just had to ban it. It hasn't been. It was there wasn't no. I don't think there was any banned cards during the Black and White series, but there was during the X and Y, and then older sets have banned cards, but uh, during that time, I don't think there had been any banned cards until recently. But those cards are going to be rotated out, so it won't really matter anymore.
Yeah, I can't. What, Random Victor? What's your thoughts on set rotation?
Well, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Well, for newer players, they won't know about the set rotation, so that's kind of a problem. They
True.
they have to put, like, when they buy a star a starter deck, they should put that in the book, the rule book, that during each time every new set, there's always a set rotation for the newest players, because I remember as a kid, I would always buy cards, but when I
Yeah.
started once again collecting more, all my cards were from uh, Delta species around Black and White. None of them were new. I think the last big set I bought was a Black and White starter deck the first day it was released, and that was the Embor. And eventually, until now, I did buy the X and Y Evolutions, but that was just a reprint from the base set, and that does
Yeah.
not have really playable cards inside. So it was kind of a waste of a money unless you could exchange all those cards for bulk and get a booster box. But rotation, it's kind of a pain for the newer players. For the more experienced ones, like right now I got more into it. I will probably be. I am planning to go for tournament play and regionals. I am planning to do those kind of stuff. So I'm trying to learn more and trying to keep up with the set rotations. Like in August, 4 new sets are being rotated, and I think they were gonna be leaked around this month. But the
Mhm.
problem is, there's a problem. They always remove 4 sets, but they don't know if they're going to remove X and Y breakthrough, and then there's two X and Y break series,
Yeah.
breakthrough and breakpoint. They don't know if they're going to remove both of them, or remove one and keep the other. But
Yeah.
for because Yu-Gi-Oh, you can make a deck from any card from any series. It doesn't really matter. Pokemon, you can't really, because it's super expensive. Like the most expensive pack to get is the Pokemon Sky Ridge, and it's because it has the super rare Charizard Crystal. The
Ooh.
the Crystal Charizard that's super expensive, kind of as expensive as the basic Charizard, but
Mhm.
um, rotation, it's kind of a problem when it comes to some games. But I see how they want to. I mean, they still have sets like expanded, but expanded
Yeah.
still has a limit of what cards you can use into what set. It's just they have to make it more attainable for the newer players to figure out that, so the parents aren't wasting so much money in older sets. And it's like when we were kids and we were playing Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. Of course, it would mostly be Pokemon because the
Yeah.
rotations. They would tell you you can't use that card, or in Yu-Gi-Oh, you wouldn't be able to use that card because it was banned. Uh,
Yeah.
and they and it was and then you would tell your parents, and they would be like, "Oh, I can't buy you anymore because I spent so much on it. I'm not gonna buy you anymore." So
Yeah.
eventually, players would just give up.
True.
I'm
But what's the positive side of set rotation?
Set rotation. It allows balance. It doesn't give
That
to because
it doesn't. Go
continue.
ahead. Well, I was gonna say it does give balance. It basically balances out the power creep.
Mm-hmm. Because um, Tapu Lele, the main card that is practically played, and the main decks that are the main decks of Garbodor, extremely overpowered deck, and it's probably gonna stay overpowered until it's rotated into expanded. Decidueye, Ninetales, and this Tapu Lele is super overpowered because it has a great ability as well as a great attack, and
Uh,
combine that with a Roaring Skies Shaman EX, it's already pretty strong. But if they remove the Shaman, it will kind of lower the power that deck has. But eventually, players are gonna figure out a way. Like the most feared card for anyone to play is called Lysander. That will I think the effect is you switch one of your Pokemon, or your opponent chooses which Pokemon to switch. I think I'm not really sure. I don't really remember the card so well because I don't use it because it's a pain. It's
mhm.
I mean, who hasn't played in Yu-Gi-Oh, and you're about to win and someone plays Magic Cylinder or um, Negate Attack or
Or
anything.
or like when you're about to get your boss monster out and someone plays a solemn strike on you or a
Yes.
solemn warning,
Mm-hmm.
and just bye bye ace monster. You're like, well, I did that for nothing.
And the thing is that it would only, if you know your opponent doesn't really play Solomon Strike, it would work for you. Uh, um, it would work fine. But if you do play it, like me, I have a monster that is not affected by that because it can't be negated by. its summon can't be negated, and that's Utopia's. Hope Zexal is the Japanese name. I think it's Utopic Zexal or Zexal Utopia. Number S is 0, the one that came out in the, what was it?
Maximum Crisis Special Edition.
Exactly. It's summon can't be negated, so it's kind of so the effect of that card is kind of negated by itself, but it kind of makes you angry when it comes to it.
Yeah.
It's just the change. The changes is that when you see Yu-Gi-Oh and see Pokemon, you can't really compare it much because the audience is completely different. Pokemon is a audience to everyone, no matter how old, how new, or how new. It sounds like they're toys now. They're not even humans anymore. They're toys. They're towards an audience of towards any audience, but for Yu-Gi-Oh it's towards a certain audience. Like when me and StarDuelist, I'll use his real name, Juan. We go to this tournament at our local library, and I was going. If it was actually my first tournament, I didn't do so well, but I did pretty decent. But the problem was there was a lot of new players, knew how to play, but the problem is that it's kind of like in the, I think they do this in the anime where they say what card they're gonna set. I think that was Yuma, where he would say, I set a spell card or a trap card.
Trap card, I think.
Yeah, he would say what card it was, and that's kind of like the new players were doing against me during the first round. And they knew how to play, and I would help them as well, but it kind of felt bad because they still didn't have a hold of how to use their decks to the maximum potential. They still had a lot of way to go. I saw that kid that he could become a great duelist, but right now he would still need a lot of work.
Question: was he had card sleeves, or was he just playing with the cards?
Just the cards. So right out of the starter deck, I think he was using the Girgi deck.
Oh, cringe! No card sleeves.
I mean, we know someone who plays without sleeves, but my God, I feel so bad for the cards because the cards are completely ruined. We can't actually. If anyone knows who he is, it's Tomato Whale. He plays Yu-Gi-Oh as well, but his cards are completely ruined, and he doesn't use a. See, for some decks, he has some sleeves or deck boxes, and some he just has a rubber band to keep them together.
Okay.
And they're extremely damaged, and the value of practically
cringe.
every card. He has good cards, especially the cyber cards.
Yeah. Not only that, he also does know how to play. He's a good duelist.
Oh yes, he's a good duelist.
It's just how he takes care of his cards.
Yes, he's extremely good, especially if he uses his cyber deck. He's a menace. But the biggest issue is he gets power hungry, and then he uses his strongest monster. But if you have anything trap, especially a magic cylinder, his biggest weakness, you'll win the duel. Oh yeah, true.
That's a lot of life points.
And if
we
we could still use mind control, now that would be even better.
Oh yeah, if we can use mind control, sadly I think it's banned. But I think brain control came off the ban list though. I think in the latest, it's not the newest, but came out a while back ago. Duelist Saga, I think they rotted it. But yeah, that lets you take over. I know back in the olden days, you only have to pay like 800 life points, take control of your opponent's monster, and I think you get to keep it. I think you do. I don't think you give it back. I'm not sure on that.
Wait, do
But
they when they reprint a card sometimes, do they change the effects?
yes, sometimes
Oh,
Konami, what they do is they bring back some old cards, like cards that are banned or like any card, and they change the effect on it. They do erratas on it. I don't know
okay.
if Pokemon does erratas, but I know Yu-Gi-Oh! They do erratas.
Wait, erratas?
Basically,
Could you
yeah. What
explain that?
errata is, what errata is basically, let's take for Trishula. If you guys know what Trishula is, it's think it's level 8 synchro monster or level 9. No, it's a level 9 synchro monster. And Trishula had a OP effect, very strong effect when it first came out. And then a couple years back, I think in 2014 or 15, I'm not sure. It was during the Zexal era. Trishula got banned, but now he's off the ban list. The reason what they did is that they gave it errata. They made the effect less powerful and more like balanced. That's what they do. Erratas are cards that were OP, but they balanced them. They changed the effect a little bit. Let's say if a card just spams and spams, what they would do, they would errata and say once per turn. Now it doesn't spam. Now it's once per turn. So
Okay.
basically, that's what erratas are. They balance cards that are too overpowered.
Okay. Because we in the newest set Pokemon Guardians Rising, we actually had a reprint that had to be reprinted for one reason because the effect was actually broken in the original card, and that was actually Victini. It was to protect all users from flip effects. I think it was. I could look up the card right now, but I don't feel like it. But it was reprinted because it was so broken when it came to that one effect. And now there's been rumors that the oldest energy and I think most overpowered energy in the past is warp energy is actually coming back. And if they actually use the same effect as the older card, people with the older version might be able to use it. And I know you have some warp energies in your Melmar deck, don't you?
I think I might. I'm not for sure. Let's see. I'm gonna grab my deck right now and check if I do.
And if some people don't know what the warp energy was, the main effect was that it was an energy. I think it was rainbow. Don't remember that part, but it would allow you to switch your Pokemon. So I attach. It would be. I think it's rainbow. Don't quote me on that yet. But you would be able to switch. So if you had way too much damage on your active Pokemon, you can switch it, and then for the main set, you could use the main monster for that effects would be Drampa because he does more damage if one of your bench Pokemon has damage onto it.
And yes, people, I do play Pokemon, and I found it, and yeah, I do have two Warp Energies. This is, if you guys want to hear it, this is what it does. Warp Energy provides a color energy. When you attach this card into your active Pokemon, switch that Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. That's what
Exactly.
Warp Energy does.
So if they use that exact effect from the original, or they tweak it a bit where they make it the sentence even shorter, um, but it still has the main effect of that, people will be able to use that card. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's kind of different. They're trying to nerf that card by switching the effect. The
Yeah, they
effect.
try to make it more balanced. I mean, people can use it, but they try to balance it. They're not gonna make it broken like before. They're trying to like fix their mistake that they did.
Yeah, it's
And
kind
that's
of like
how
the.
now it's kind of like how now before we had law cards on the ban list, but recently Konami's actually have been giving cards on the ban list of Radas. That's why they've been coming off of the ban list. It's because now they're no longer powerful like they used to be when they were first printed.
But if they're reprinting the cards, doesn't that make the value go down though?
Yes, yes. If the card gets reprinted, that means the value of the card goes down. But
Because
what you get? Sometimes you get the short print. Sometimes the card might be a short print. Like I think Trishula, because I seen so many openings of Duel Saga, and Trishula was a card that was off the ban list, and it got Rada too, and Duel Saga. And I've seen a lot of people open the boxes, but no one gets Trishula. I feel like it's really hard to pull.
It's
So
kind
I
of
think
like
it's
the um I forgot. The um X in XYZ Dragon, uh the
I think
level
I
4, the main Supreme King Dragon cards from the new set. Um
oh Supreme King Zar.
um
That's
no One of his minions, XYZ.
Dark Rebellion Dragon. That
Yes, Dark Rebellion was an expensive card until it was reprinted as a one of the tins, right?
Yeah, it got reprinted actually a couple times. The first reprint it was in the 10, the Mega Tins in 2050 with Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and then it got reprinted again, and I think got Wing Raiders. I think Wing Raiders is where it got reprinted as a rare, and I got them because they were only like maybe $1. They went
Yep.
from like $19 to like $1.
And it's a good card, especially because it's a level 4, and that kind of replaces Utopia, because it has a kind of a better effect than Utopia. But the thing is, it doesn't get destroyed when it runs out of XYZs. That's the one problem with Utopia. It does get
Yeah,
the attack, but it gets destroyed right after that, after the
yeah.
two are detached.
XYZ Dark Rebellion Dragon helps you get over powerful monsters that your opponent has set up. So let's say your opponent has Cyber End Dragon just pops out and you have nothing to go over it. But since rank 4s are really easy to make, if you can make a rank 4, you can go to Dark Rebellion, use his effect, have Cyber End Dragon attack points, whatever is added onto Dark Rebellion, and now he's over Cyber End Dragon, and you can just run over Cyber End Dragon with ease. So it's good for getting over big monsters.
Okay. So I think it's about time we start talk about Pokemon. I have been talking about it a little bit, but big changes are gonna be coming. Um, they're doing a lot of supports for lightning energy Pokemon. A lot of supports. They're actually trying to make it faster, and it for me it seems that the main deck, Tapu Koko, the one I'll be my custom Tapu Koko deck, I'll be going against uh StarDuelist Melmar deck. Um, Eventually, we haven't set a time or date for it, but
It will
of
happen. It will happen.
it will happen, and they're trying to give more support, especially towards fire decks. And fire
Yeah.
decks have never been anything, especially in tournaments. They have been seen played, um, but they aren't main, and you never see them. They're usually psychic, lightning, water, and darkness. It, Mostly ground, not really sure, but fire decks and in grass decks, yeah, I think the only one was fire, because fire is, yes, it's super strong, especially with the new set Burning Shadows coming out in August, right when the championships start. That day, I think it's around the 20th through 18, 19, and 20th in Anaheim, California. We were actually thinking of going. It's actually 5 hours from our location, and $30 for entry. And I was thinking we would show up and do the open tournament. It would actually be pretty fun just to hang out with other people. But the thing was,
And see you guys there too.
mm-hmm, the there been a lot of supports like Ho-Oh GX is going to be a good card. Volcanion, the main card that's everyone's hyped for some reason. The Charizard GX.
That's probably what a lot of people are gonna be hyped about.
But the thing is, it's what people have been saying online is that the main decks are gonna be um a stage ones and not stage twos.
So basically, they're just gonna use stage 1 Pokemon.
Because when you think about it, is that they have released a lot of cards like Guzma. It Lysander is gonna be rotated from the it's gonna be rotated, but then a stronger and more meaner card than him is actually gonna replace him, and that's Guzma, the main leader of Team Skull, right?
Yeah, Team Skull. He's the leader.
And the thing is, because it doesn't just switch your bench, it does more. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. If you do switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, so you're allowed. You switch. They switch. Your opponent switches and you switch. So if you have any damage or still don't have your main out, but you have him in your bench, perfect.
Then that's a good card.
And then another one is the main deck. If you remember Mew EX,
Yeah, I remember.
how he could copy. I'm pretty sure all his cards, some of his cards, anyways, could copy other Pokemon's abilities. And I think Call of Legends, he could copy any Pokemon that was abilities from or attacks from the Lost Zone that is in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the Banished Zone. And for us, it's called the Lost Zone for some reason.
Yeah, and for you, we call it Banish.
And Marshadow, one of the main legendaries that was recently, I think 1 month ago, 2 months ago, it was released in the game finally. It's gonna be the new Mew. It's able to copy, but every deck that is weak towards fighting is gonna be overpowered. I think his ability is that he's able to copy anything from your either discard or bench, but you still have to use the same energy, but he adds the attribute of fighting into it. So whatever your attack is, so if you have a grass Pokemon and you're using Marshadow's effect, the attack won't be grass anymore. It would actually be fighting. So anything for weak against fighting, it would be a great card. It's kind of like Tapu Lele. It's gonna be a card that can be fit in any deck.
It's splashable, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It can just splash into any deck that can use it.
And I know you use Darkrai. I've
Mm-hmm.
I think you use the one from the Mythical Collection. I'm not.
Yeah. I
It
used the one from the Mythical Collection.
any Darkrai always have great effects. There aren't always used. There are some copies that of Darkrai aren't used. Some are used way too much, especially the main deck that was main. Darkrai.
Darkrai EX.
Was a pain and super expensive card.
I wish I can get it.
And now, for Burning Shadows, they're bringing back that monster with the GX form.
Oh joy!
The problem is, I'm thinking they're gonna release one more Pokemon, either for this set, Burning Shadows, or next set. And what I'm expecting, a new card that probably won't be main, but will probably be at least one copy or two copies in a deck. is gonna be Lugia GX.
Do you think they're gonna make him colorless, like a normal type?
Well, they could make him water. He could fit with a Ninetales deck, but CMA, I would prefer him being colorless because that's how we had him in Ancient Origins and a few other sets. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he was usually colorless, so having him water right now, I wouldn't really see it. And because they had Ho-Oh coming in August for uh,
Burning Shadows.
Burning Shadows, it's I can see that coming out eventually.
Yeah.
And then Prisma, another card that's been coming out. Is the thing is there's a lot of cards because the rotation is gonna happen. They
Yeah.
can't deny it. Some cards are actually gonna be great. Someone has another YouTuber who's actually just talks about this. It's T TCG. It's something. Oh, I'll leave a description down below. Leave a link down below. But he's actually predicted that some cards won't be great in standard, but they're gonna be amazing, overkill, and expanded. And that is Volcanion and GX Charizard.
Yeah. I think there was some hype too back when Steam Siege came out when they had the starter deck of Volcanion in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was some hype around that card. I'm not too sure because I'm more into Yu-Gi-Oh. I kind of follow Pokemon for once in a while, but from what I heard, I think wasn't Volcanion from the Steam Siege starter deck was
Yep.
really hyped up.
Actually, every copy of Volcanion in Steam Siege was hyped and actually was a main. Is still actually a main deck. People are still using it. It was actually not in the championships for. I forgot which location. It's the championships before Worlds. I forgot who won. I didn't actually get to see the end. I was actually just watching it before this podcast, and the main decks were Decidueye and Garbodor. Um,
Hmm.
the problem is Garbodor is a psychic, and of course, psychics are usually weak against psychics. Um, its strongest effect is when you discard item cards. It does more damage.
Really?
Yeah, it's and if it's item cards and not actually, because when I think items, I think the items you attach to Pokemon, kind of like amulet coin or muscle band, choice band, the ones that add effects or add
Yeah.
strengths. But it seems like item cards. It means like the items you use, like Pokeball, Great Ball,
Uh,
and if I'm correct, I don't really follow the main decks. When I build a deck for especially Yu-Gi-Oh, Utopia wasn't a main at all. Um, they had good cards, but no one would really play it because it would suck. But the thing is, I customized it. It would eventually become a great deck. It was a great deck until the new expansion comes out and the new rules, but it wins decent amount.
yeah, I'm thinking maybe your deck can adapt to the new rules because basically when we're going to link summit, players are gonna have to adapt. And some
Mm-hmm.
decks like Zodiacs are still powerful, even though link summoning nerfs exceeds. Zodiacs are still doing really good in Japan. So it's just about players adapting to the new changes that the game is bringing.
And that's the thing. When people are looking into decks to build, they still look into decks from Japan because Japan has their rules adapted before us and a few more months before us, um, and you can see how the deck will play out. which decks are going to be affected, which ones are not going to really be affected, and it's both for both card games. But for Pokemon, I'm actually built a Tapu Koko deck, and it's actually not even a main because it's a basic Pokemon, and it doesn't really have that high GX attack of HP of 200.
Mhm.
It just has the basic EX HP like 100, 170, 180, but
Yeah.
it's good, and if people can make it work great, it can actually be a deck that it works amazing after 3 turns, because if you attach 3 energies to one Pokemon, you play Tapu Koko, you switch those energies to him, and you switch him towards your main, and because it's been 3 turns, your opponent really won't be that far ahead, and you will be, because he's just a basic GX with a high
Yeah.
attack. But now we have the GX attacks. They're great, but we can only use it once per turn. Once per game.
Yeah, that's the thing, to limit them so they're not too overpowered.
Because Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have that, where, oh, you can only use the effect once per game. You can use it how many times you want, as long as you have the, what it requires. Sometimes, some cards don't really require anything. You just play it. But sometimes you have to pay life points.
Actually, to let you know, there are some cards that said you only can use it once per turn, once
There
per
is?
duel. Yeah,
Oh,
there's actually
yes.
cards out there that said you only can use it once per duel.
I forgot I own one of those cards. Tesku Knight ends the battle phase when it's when if you special summon him from the graveyard, it ends the battle phase instantly, but you can only use the effect once per turn. Yeah, I forgot I owned that card.
They-
Wow.
Yeah, there's cards that said once per turn, and there's cards out there that says once per duel. So basically, you're only allowed to use it once, and that's it. Throughout
And
the whole entire duel, you're only allowed to use it once. Its effect only one time.
yeah, but then GX, because GX attacks are overpowered, but the thing is, if you people are gonna have more than one GX Pokemon in why are they who they're both monsters. It doesn't really matter. Pocket monsters, monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh, monsters in Pokemon. Uh, you can only use their effect once, but you have more than one copy in your deck. That's
That's true.
it's. But for Yu-Gi-Oh, if the effect is ends the battle phase like I do, I don't really play that card. I should probably play it, but then you have to think, what's the odds? And that's another thing, the odds of you drawing that card, being in the graveyard, and you activating that effect when you need it.
It's true.
Ratios fit its mathematics strategy. And that's a big deal in every card game. Yu-Gi-Oh especially, it's Yu-Gi-Oh is an audience towards teenagers and higher, and I forgot to discuss this, but I heard some rumors that Yu-Gi-Oh might die. What do you think?
Well, I really don't think Yu-Gi-Oh is gonna die. People are just saying that because Link summoning is, oh, this is gonna kill the game. This is stupid. I'm just gonna quit. But really, what happens is that, like before, when synchros came out, people were saying, oh, synchros are broken. You need this tuner or that. This
Mm-hmm.
is gonna break this game. This is stupid. I'm leaving. And then when Exceeds came out, the same people said the same thing. They said, oh, two monsters on top of each other, summon a monster. This is too OP. The game's gonna die. It's broken. And then same people said that to Pendulums. When Pendulums came out, they said, oh,
Yep.
Pendulums, you can spam the field. This is gonna die. And funny story, most of the top tier decks weren't Pendulum decks. If you really noticed, they're more like Exceed, like
Yeah.
Zodiac. They use Exceed. Shadows, they use fusions. They didn't use pendulums. Burning Abyss, when they were at the meta, they used Exceeds too with I forgot the guy's name, but he annoys me a lot.
And then
But yeah, they used
trap
that guy.
tricks or
Not really much, but so far in the Pendulum, they only had two powerful meta decks, were Pendulum Magicians and or they had I forget what's called, but it's like Perform Mage or whatever. I'm not sure. And then Cliffforts. So when the Pendulums first came out, Cliffforts were a meta deck, but they only had two. The rest were all something else. So Pendulums weren't really that bad, and that's why I think about with Link summoning is that people are going to hate on it, but who knows? Maybe later in the future, Konami's going to release a broken Link summoning, and it's going to be really good. Like people think, oh, this is going to break the game. So, telling honestly, I think the game is basically progressing instead of dying. Basically, it's just
mm-hmm.
I feel like whenever they add a new mechanic, it gets people interested, it gets people curious, and gets people wanting to play the game because they read it and they're like, "Oh, this sounds pretty interesting. I wonder what things I can do." Because every time they release a new mechanic, they always it opens up more to strategy, like more things you can do, more plays you can do, more different combos you can do. It opens up a bunch of possibilities. So that's why I think Yu-Gi-Oh is not gonna die. I think Yu-Gi-Oh is basically bringing new stuff to players. Like it's like becoming a new game, basically in a way.
Yeah. And I would like to say we're actually going to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit longer because I just came up with a few ideas. We will continue with Pokemon after this, but I just thought that when you think about it, what I think Pokemon is trying to portray how the game plays. How everyone has one turn and you have to do everything in one turn. It's kind of like in the games, how you have to do everything. You have to
Turn
heal.
based.
But the thing is, healing, yeah, turn based, but the healing in your game actually takes one turn, and in the game it doesn't really. Um, it, and then Yu-Gi-Oh is more they thought about it more, but they're adding more mechanics. That's the one problem people don't like. But when I think about it, that I just thought about, because I was one of those people that said I'm gonna quit because it's gonna nerf my deck. But after I played with the rules, I saw that my deck wasn't really nerfed. It just depends how my what I draw is what's gonna determine the fate of the duel. And when I think is that in any card game, when they create it, they're giving the players freedom to make anything. Creativity. Like,
Yeah, creativity.
Zodiacs were kind of nerfed, but they still work out. It was because probably the guy thought there was probably still a way to use it, but just modifying some of the cards, taking them out, and just make it possible.
Actually, what I saw online, I didn't really see it that long, is that how they actually do the Zodiac combo is that basically they do Link summon. They have a Link monster, and
Hmm.
then they do some other, and then once they get everything set up, then they can do their Zodiac combo and just here
So,
comes Dryden.
so they modified their deck to use Link summoning as well.
Yeah, they actually were using the new mechanic, and they still pulled off their Zodiac combo. I mean, it's a little slower, but that's what I like about Link summoning, that they're slowing down the game. Because I mean, yeah, it's kind of fun spamming the field, but sometimes I like it where it takes a little slower. Like you get to enjoy the duel a little more, not like second turn you're already dead. Like full full field with Clear Wing, Synchro Dragon, not Synchro
Yep.
Dragon, or like you got Zodiac Trident, you got a Broad Bull on the field, you got like a freaking Totem Bird, or you just get like full field powerful monsters and you just end the game. I mean, that's not fun. Like that was only like two turns. I like it when it's like you get to enjoy it. Like you get to enjoy the duel a little more. That's what I kind of like about Link. Something kind of slowing down the game. But yeah, they were still Zodiacs are still able to pull off their combo with Link summoning.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you think about it, Um, you when you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, well, I'm gonna start with Pokemon, but when you're playing Pokemon, you know which deck they're going to be using. They're going to use one of the main decks that have been created for standard, that have paid money for it, and you'll practically know every card in the deck if you're studying your opponent. And usually that's what happens one day before the final match. They release the deck list, and both opponents, like in the regional and the championships that recently happened and was posted a few hours ago, 6 hours ago, um, both opponents, one day before it happened, the deck list was released, and they knew which cards both opponents would have in their decks, and they didn't really fear it because they knew which cards they would probably play and which times, which card, the ratios. They thought of all of that. They're practically magicians, knowing the future and kind of how their opponent is gonna play, and they play, and they're kind of like and they were still hanging out, talking about their decks, talk about their cultures. But when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, now that's a completely different story. Yes, they might release the deck list of your opponent, but that doesn't mean you're gonna know which card they're gonna have. It,
That's true.
because they can have any card practically from any set. And when I'm playing, I'm afraid sometimes to attack, especially when they're opened and they have a full set in the back row. You don't know if they have like a magic cylinder, something to destroy the monster, any trap. But and it's not like that in Pokemon because there's no such thing as something you can use during your opponent's turn,
Yeah,
unless it's an
that's true.
effect. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you have no choice. You have to take that chance or wait it out.
Yeah, true.
It, it's terrifying, and as you just said, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh is dying because it's one
Yeah.
of the big three games anywhere. It's Magic, of course, the number one. I forgot which one was number two and number three. It's either Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh and or vice versa. And I know number four is Force of Will, but Force of Will is trying to combine everything, and they had a pretty rough start when they began, but now they're trying to get their act together in the newer sets. It's still super expensive, but uh, it's kind of a
How
combination of all.
how about Card Fight Vanguard?
Cardfight Vanguard, is a game that really no one really plays, and I don't really hear much about it. I hear plans to release online TCG about it, but it hasn't. They had their own thing coming, their own website and everything set up for the online. They even had betas that I totally missed every time they announced it, and usually it was taken down, it was canceled, but now it's up on Steam now. But around our area, you don't hear anyone talk about anything out of Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Pokemon. And people usually mostly play Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh. Most and it's in schools. It's rarely that anyone in high school level like us or now in college level play Pokemon unless you go to a card shop.
It's true.
Or like we did in our high school, we create a gamers club where we could come in and play video games. But the thing is, it was great idea for the first year. If we did anything we wanted, first year, we even did something. We were playing Mugen, and we were cheering on Hitler because he's the most overpowered character in the game.
I
He
remember that.
he was just spamming his propaganda and killing the main four bosses of Mugen. So we were able to do anything, and we actually yelled at we the one of the teachers actually came in and said, "What are you, a Hitler cult?" And that was pretty funny. But then that generation of seniors left. Our main president left, the one who made it so much fun. Then we had president second year, the second year gamers club, but um, at the end of the first year, we voted for the new presidents and vice presidents. Second year, they were taken away. Their I can't really. I can tell you that Tomato Whale was supposed to be the main president for Gamers Club. His position was actually taken away and demoted to vice president. And vice president, that was supposed to be one of our friends, Nick, was actually completely removed. He wasn't given any position, and um, and it the games were I'm pretty sure the only ones who I knew people that played Pokemon collected them, but not many people played. First year we had actually had a Pokemon tournament. It was actually just 3 people, and that was me, the one who actually won, and actually the one who actually still has the title of champion of Pokemon in there until I graduated. And then it was another friend. He actually has a channel as well, Anime Fate, aka Will, and I forgot the other person's name. He was a best. He was really good friends with Tyler, though. Do you remember his name?
No, I don't think I remember.
And
Wait,
yeah,
was it a guy named Christian?
yes, it was Chris.
Oh, okay.
And the main games in those first year, Magic was the main. Like
Oh
everyone
yeah.
was playing Magic. Our teachers were playing Magic.
Oh
Everyone
yeah.
they would say they would
Include.
collected other card games, but Magic was the main.
Yeah, everyone was playing Magic most of it. Most of the population was playing Magic. There was a small bit of people playing Pokemon at first, and then there was some people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's where I was at. And then later through it, close to the end of the year, people who were playing Pokemon stopped, and it was mostly
Yeah.
Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or, yes, people were playing Smash Brothers at the end of the year.
Yes. When Smash Brothers was released, everyone was crazy about it, and yeah, it's an enjoyable game, but it's like every other fighting game. It gets kind of boring, especially
Yeah.
if there's characters that spam, and usually there's always those people that don't follow the rules and choose the spammy character.
But yeah, there was that at the like ending of the year. That's
Yeah.
how it was.
And then there was dope people that had the money to buy the games and was able to actually own them and play, and they were actually good at Smash. And then all those noobs that had played it in another system but were still pretty good, and then the complete noobs that didn't know anything like me. I played,
Me,
yeah. I actually never played any of the tournaments. I thought it was useless. I was still playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I actually didn't start Yu-Gi-Oh until probably halfway through the um
Zexal era.
yeah. I actually
I,
bought the V for Victory starter deck.
yeah, I think that was the last starter deck for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, because usually what I find out, they always do 3 starter decks per era. That was the very last starter deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal.
Yeah. And after that second year, of course, things changed. Magic died down. Pokemon was big for 3 weeks and died. No one played it. Yu-Gi-Oh stayed strong because I don't know, but it is a great game. Magic as well. Magic was great, but then it died down as well. It was mostly new people that came in and all the new things they were doing. We start actually following the rules. We couldn't do much. We couldn't do the Hitler chant. We couldn't play the same game anymore. Some of the things we planned never happened. Um, Yu-Gi-Oh stayed, but the thing was that some of the players there actually spent a lot of money on their decks, or some didn't even know how to play, or cheated a lot. We knew. I don't really mind if I say his name. His name was Logan. Both of us
Oh
actually
god.
played against him, and he actually tried to exceed with a synchro and in another monster.
No, no, from what I heard, I was playing someone else, but I think it was our friend Will or Ryan that were playing against Logan, and supposedly what they told me, they came up and told me it told me that he tried to synchro someone using Exceed monster as a material.
Yeah, you okay? So I got yeah, I was kind of right, but it was Vice. It wasn't the same way, but yeah, rank and level are two completely different things, and on the opposite side of the card. Um, and
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh stayed strong. It was main. Magic kind of died down. A lot of people were playing their 3DS, playing a lot of Smash. Actually, that was practically all I remember we were doing in the second year.
Yeah.
Eventually, this generation, their generation, the new seniors, StarDuelist was actually one of them, graduated, and the problem was that everyone hated that the main president, Tyler, became Joseph Stalin. He created a what was the name? I don't really remember history. Uh, he took
A
control.
communist. Well, basically, he was communist.
Yeah, communism, and he we
He was
didn't
a
vote.
dictator.
We didn't vote for a new president or vice president. Um, the he was actually training someone for to be his successor, exactly like Joseph Stalin. But everyone knows what happened to him.
Yeah.
Bye bye. He kicked the can. Um, I probably would have done it as well. Um, but that's when things changed, and a lot of the things they promised, we never did. We were promised to go to tournaments around this area. The only area would have been Samurai Comics.
And comics.
We never went to any of the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. We had them in the club. They weren't really prepared. Um,
We did one tournament first year. Remember?
yeah, it was
Well, I
a
know.
all-out tournament.
I remember that we did that big gigantic duel with like 10 people, 10
Yeah,
or 9 people. That was humongous.
yeah. Our friend Nick was the best player there, but out of everyone, he kind of over. He read the effects, but he would try to tweak them for his own favor. Um, Sometimes if he would be losing, like I had a full set of 5 monsters on my field for Yu-Gi-Oh, and he changed the effect so he would win, and that's not how
Yeah,
you played.
let's just say sometimes he felt like he can change the game into his favor.
Yeah, I did win once by default. He took damage, and we had to. Lunch got was over, and I technically won. So I still count that as a win, and he was a sore loser. Good thing he left. But second year, um, um, the last generation of the main left, and it was just me and a few others. Senior year, people started. Well, during second year, a lot of people started leaving and not returning until a few weeks after, and then came months, and then came a year, or came never. So
Yeah, it slowly started to die.
last year, my last year, senior year, this year, um, I was one of those people. I showed up a few weeks, and what I should have done from the beginning, first second year, I should have ran for president. I would have kept everyone happy, and I would have wanted the best for everyone. I just didn't see him as anyone. I didn't see anyone happy, and they every time I brought an idea, especially for second year, uh, I tried to organize a Pokemon tournament. That idea was completely thrown out the window, and it never happened. And then for Yu-Gi-Oh, I tried that, never happened either. So they were trying to stop anything from being uh, good. And for third year, I tried to do the Pokemon one again, and people just weren't interested in card games anymore. Magic had completely died down. Every Magic player were practically gone. Our gamers club that used to be big enough for a main club to support itself had to survive by combining with another club called uh Dun. It was kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons club. It was a branch of Gamers Club, and that's what happened. We had to. The only way to survive was combining both of them, and eventually everyone that played Magic left to that, and Yu-Gi-Oh. Some of the players, some of the newer ones, came in. I remember the first day of Gamers Club, some kid had this super expensive deck. Every card was practically in Japanese. Um, uh, I hate. I don't really hate using this term. I use it for funnies, but it was weeb. I didn't call him a weeb to his face, but if your whole deck is well in Japanese and you don't speak that language, and I know you don't look like you don't have any Asian features, I think there's a problem.
Yeah. He's probably gonna have, because I know in tournaments and real Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments you're actually allowed to use foreign cards. As long as you have the English translation with you, you're perfectly fine. So you can use a Japanese card in the official YCS tournament or regionals or nationals, as long as you had our English version or English text of it.
I'm not really sure
So
how
you're
that works
perfectly
with
fine.
Pokemon though.
Yeah, I don't know if Pokemon does it, but I know Yu-Gi-Oh! You're allowed to use foreign cards as long as you have English translation.
But first day, he actually was one of the few people, because Utopia isn't a main deck at all. People make custom decks of it online. They talk about it. And when a new support card came out, like Code of the Duelist? No, Duelist Saga, right?
Yeah, I have that card actually.
Two
Light Wing Shield.
a trap and a spell card came out. He actually owns them. The trap card is actually I used it online. It's super good, but the spell card I can't really always use it. It has to be used in certain moments. But he was actually one of the people that said, "Ew, Utopia, how disgusting." And the problem was that I wasn't just using the normal cards. I was using Japanese Utopia Zexal months before it had come out in English. And the world tournament prize card, Utopia Kaiser. I had gotten that in Japanese, so um, and the thing was, yeah, he had said ew, but he was one of the few people. He was actually the first person to lose to me, and yeah, after he lost, he didn't really say much. Uh,
Hmm.
and I remember that I stopped coming. A lot of people started working. Um, it kept dying. Yeah, a lot of people that were enthusiastic about the club came in, but eventually they started leaving, and it became a smaller group. There was actually corners of each room. One corner was like 5 people playing Minecraft, like always. A group of people playing on their phones, another small group playing on their 3DS, and then there was us, um, Tomato Well, a few other people, and me that were either playing Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. There was like 3 people that included me, Tomato Well, and one other Aiden. And for Magic, teacher stopped playing. Eventually, they became coach. One of them became a coach. Another one stopped. Another one left that was supposed to take command. He left because he had a better position, so it was kind of understandable.
Yeah.
Um, but as you can see, that what I'm trying to say with this is that everything has a death point, and eventually people are going to stop playing, in locations. Our school, the club, Magic died down to only 2 players. Other players would play, but they wouldn't bring their decks anymore. They would be knowledgeable, but they wouldn't play. And I think there were 3 people in total, and every other person was Yu-Gi-Oh, and that was a total of 7 people, I think. And I tried to start a Pokemon tournament, and there was gonna be a total of few people, I think 7 as well. No one came. No one brought their decks, and it died. The idea of Pokemon in that club died. Yu-Gi-Oh stayed strong. Magic died as well, and I think for the year that comes, for the last of the main gamers club, the last members, actually I think there's only 2 members left, 2 or 3 members left from the original first time we opened gamers club. And after they leave, the idea is dead, and
yeah.
card games in that school will die. It won't
Yeah.
become a thing anymore. The thing is,
No.
what I'm trying to explain, what we probably both think it, that no matter what, I know the idea of this podcast has changed, but we must stay strong, and we must continue playing card games, or that we still play, for it to survive. Like, we can't
It's
really
the thing
die.
that it's the thing that we hold on most, the thing that we actually have fun, the thing that actually brings us joy. That's why we don't want to let go.
Yeah.
We love it. We like collecting the cards. We like playing. We like meeting new friends.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to know new things too, because it can teach you too.
Yeah, and
Card games are not just that; they can also teach you strategy, make you smarter. So, like, let's say you play Yu-Gi-Oh, and you're actually after that. It's like chess, basically. How chess
Mm-hmm.
they have chess tournaments too. It's all about strategy. It makes you think smart. It makes you strategize. So, like, say if you're in a job environment where you have to, there's a busy line. Let's say you're in a fast food place like I work at, and there's tons of orders coming in. You're like, okay, what should I do? What should I do? And you start strategizing. Okay, I can do this, and I can do this, and then after you strategize, it starts working perfectly. It's like in the duel when you strategize. Okay, there's a problem right in front of me. There's a full board of 5 monsters. How am I gonna get rid of this? Then you start to think, look at your hand, and you start strategizing. It's all about strategy.
Yeah. That's
Strategy
actually
is
how
real.
I met you. That's actually how I met StarDuelist at school for my freshman year. They were actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh! 4 people were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It was him, another
Well,
Gizmondo. Well, he didn't really play, but he did play.
at last he did. But in
Yeah.
the beginning, it was me, Tomato Well. I think you guys might know him, but I forgot his channel name.
Uh,
Something Flaming.
uh, Flames of Sios.
Yeah, Flame of Sios. And then, well, he doesn't really have a channel, but let's just call him sponsor of Nike. You heard of him from
Sponsor of Nike, yeah.
yeah, and him. It was just us 4, because I remember my freshman year. At first, it was me and sponsor Nike. We would just play, and then from there, I met Tomato Well and Flames of Silas, and then from there, we started playing. And then at close to in that year, that's when I met, RandomVictory, and I think Frame Perfect. Doesn't the other one have a channel too?
Yeah, Fancy Sheep.
Fancy Sheep and Frame Perfect. That's when I met them, basically, and from there it started into Gamers Club. That's how it popped up to be.
Because there was a club, but it was set in a different school. So we waited. I actually wanted to start the idea since freshman year, but it wasn't going to become true because there was no teacher until one teacher came in, and I actually had him, and it worked out. But now
Yeah.
it's dead. If it doesn't die in August when the new school year starts, it will die after that. It will not become an idea. And the thing is, I did say in the beginning of this video, my dream is actually to create a card shop where people can come in, enjoy, and play card games, meet new people, because that's how I met new people. That's how I met the tournament organizer at our a at a
Library.
at the library, and he's around our age as well. And I met him and met other people's, especially. I didn't want to meet him that much, but this very annoying kid, but I won't say his name because I don't really remember his name. um, but that's why I want to create a card shop where everyone can come in and the idea will stay strong. And because I was actually, I actually sell stuff online on OfferUp or LetGo, and someone was actually trying to buy my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, some of the extra cards I have, and I felt sad because right after that, I waited one more day because usually they don't always respond right away, and um, the problem was that it was a kid who asked me if it was negotiable, but then the mom answered that sorry, I do not allow my kids to play card games, and that's when it hit me that they're trying to stop you. I get it that cards are expensive and they're just paper, but when you pull that first holographic card for your first time in your first pack, you're gonna feel excitement. And sometimes that card is actually worth more than the pack itself. And
All we basically have to do is that if you're an adult, yeah, you do like Yu-Gi-Oh! Roulette, but also you have responsibilities. You have to pay your bills. You have to buy clothes. Yeah, just have to be responsible with your money. Like, have some money go to Yu-Gi-Oh, but also have some money go to for your responsibility. You just have to be responsible what you do with your money, or have
yeah.
a budget.
And I know I was gonna say we're gonna talk about Pokemon more, but I think Pokemon isn't really much changing as much as Yu-Gi-Oh and strategy. I can say one thing that I have been playing card games with my little brother because I don't have anyone else in my age. Well, I do my sister, but she doesn't really play. But my younger brother, I've been playing the card games against him, and he's actually becoming so good at playing card games, especially Pokemon. I haven't teach them Yu-Gi-Oh yet, but if he's extremely good at Pokemon, and if he keeps using his mind, his strategies, what he knows from me, he could become even in in theory stronger than any of the tournament champions right now, because he's been playing from so young and he's been given that information, given strategies of because we were actually fighting. He was actually using my custom Machamp deck. Actually, I was using that deck. It was 2 games. He used the Machamp. I used my Tapu Koko. He ended up using next round my Tapu Koko, and I used the Machamp deck. I won the first game. Second game, it would have been a tie if he thought a little more. He would have actually made me cause my Pokemon to be knocked out, and we would have drawn the game. And the thing is that if your kid enjoys something, because there's YouTubers that do what they do because they enjoy it. Simply Unlucky. When he released my live video, I could tell that that guy enjoyed Yu-Gi-Oh since the beginning, and he still enjoys it until today. And
Same thing with Cyber Knight 8610. How he actually tells his family members how he's doing. They ask about his channel, and it looks like he actually enjoys doing what he does.
yeah, And there's actually been a recent channel, Trainer TV, that I've been watching a lot because he does a lot of TCG openings, but he talks about a lot of tournament plays and stuff. But he actually recently released a video that stuff are gonna be changing. That he's because people eventually have to choose a path where they want to go, and YouTube usually isn't always a path that people can follow. And he actually took the risk because he's actually been to China and he actually is a teacher. I think that he's qualified to teach other people. And in that video, he actually said that uh, there's going to be big changes. And the biggest change that happened recently that made him go into this change was that he got a sponsorship. But because the sponsorship came from very good friends and that he knows the people. So it's when you know card games and know the people, your understanding, your branch of friends will expand, and from them you could meet someone who owns their own card game. You could get sponsorships that we're hoping to get sponsorship from card games for to support our enjoyment for these card games.
Yeah.
We're trying to get the local store, Samurai Comics, to sponsor Stardust for Yu-Gi-Oh, and for me for Pokemon. And we're just waiting for our channels to grow, so we can bring more enjoyment. Because I want to build this card shop, so when you guys get older, or because not everyone watches every YouTuber forever. Eventually, people are gonna grow up, grow out of it, and I know. But my card shop, I want it where anyone can come in and enjoy it. Enjoy to hang out, meet new people, talk. It's gonna be a hangout, like after school. You're done with your homework, or you did your homework on. It gives you, because your parents would tell you do your homework before early, so you would have more time in the afternoon. And
Yeah.
towards us, um, towards this idea, it when I open it, it will give the kids that enjoy card games to be like, I should do my homework now, finish it, so I could tell my mom or my dad to take me to the card shop, and I could just hang out there until late. And
Yeah. You want to build a card shop with a good atmosphere, basically. A place where people can go have fun, meet new people, learn new things, and just enjoy themselves and enjoy what they like doing, like playing cards
yeah, and
or anything. Or just enjoy like talking with people and just getting to know people. Just a good atmosphere.
I will say this: if you come to my card shop and you're trying to bother my customers, I'm not afraid to take out the gun. I will take you out, because I will not tolerate you ruining the atmosphere of other people having fun to do that. Because I enjoy seeing people happy. That's the reason I did this. That's the whole reason I did the stupid Juan Mays video, because I thought it was funny. It was just supposed to be a project for my mythology class, and I was like, heck with it. This is I think it's funny, and I will probably regret it in the future, but I think other people are gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
The entertainment business brings so many things, and it just doesn't have to be TV shows or movies. It can be anything. That's what we want, to create more things for you guys, and so all of you are able to enjoy our channels. And because I see all these new channels, because I like playing video games and recording it for you guys, but sometimes it's not as fun as opening cards and enjoying the feeling, because uh, games and card games are two different things, and usually different standings towards other people.
Yeah.
Card games are usually, they think, oh, it's childish, but that's what they say about anime, but you have not seen the horror section yet.
Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh, yeah. And then card game. I mean, there's some gory backstories for some cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, and for some Pokemon, they're the spirits of children who have died, and there's um
Uh, uh, Fun fact: America actually censors some Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
yeah.
Hint, hint. Censor. Hint, hint.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. There's a lot of videos online about the censors, and I recommend you go watch them because actually sometimes it's practically. Sometimes it's interesting, and it's actually pretty stupid why they censored them in the first place.
Yeah, I find it interesting.
And that's the whole purpose. This podcast was mostly supposed to be us talk about the future of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, but as you can see, we completely diverse to something else. And to tell you the truth, today we are not announcing that we are doing more things for you guys. We are actually planning more videos for you guys, and um, uh, we're planning. I'm actually going with Gizmondo and StarDuelist. They actually came up with the plan, and they told me about it. I was like, heck yeah! A big trip is coming up in a few hundred years, but it's something that we all want to do for not just because it's an amazing place to go. Uh, the cards over there are pretty cheap, but because it's gonna be amazing and for all of you guys to watch.
Oh yeah,
We just want to create more stuff for you guys for enjoyment.
entertainment for your guys' pleasure.
I mean, we were even talking about earlier today ideas that, one idea, we're not sure if it's going to become real or not. It's us going to Goodwill looking for stuff, um, Pokemon, Yu Gi Oh! Related, and we buy them, review them, and you'll get to see them in that video, but you'll see more content and us just goofing off at stores. Especially at Goodwill, we find some cool stuff. I remember when I went with this guy, we were having my father fight from Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And he was actually grabbing a Nerf gun, except for he was like, heck with the lightsaber, Nerf gun. Dun, 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 dun. It, it's hilarious stuff. We have so many ideas, and that wasn't the only thing we were talking about. We were actually talking about how we could improve our videos, our editing, and I try to improve on editing, but on
Me
gaming,
too.
there isn't really much what I can improve when it comes to gaming, because people are usually coming there for the game and not for uh your
Commentary.
well, I was gonna say your face cam
Oh.
twirling in circles each time you die, because that
Or rage quitting.
yeah. I mean, I rage quit in the game, but I eventually figured out how the game plays. But that's another thing that we are trying to improve for your entertainment. And this
Yeah.
video completely changed the topic of everything we were talking about.
Yeah.
Everything
But it
connected.
follows. Yeah. It actually follows up with your channel. It was just like talking about our channel. It's just update kind of in a way, and also talking about, of course, the games that we love and play. It's just random.
Yeah. And
Pun intended. Pun intended.
uh, and we're actually thinking of doing more of these podcasts later on for
Oh yeah.
because these are actually pretty interesting. We just get to chill out, talk, and um, and if I can, I'm actually trying to improve the internet right now for my house. Oh, well, not my house, my parents' house. And if any of you show up uninvited, we'll get ready to get hit in the face. Um, sorry, but hey, I don't like strangers showing up unless you're giving me some money, you know. Um, uh,
Give us some money or some cards for free.
Yeah. Um, because these podcasts are just a way to chill out. This was actually pre-recorded, of course. It's actually I'm gonna be uploading this. It's actually 11 at night right now, but I'm gonna be uploading right after this. So it'll probably take like 2 days to upload because the internet sucks so bad. But the thing is, I want to do this live streamed so you can ask us questions and we would just talk about things. And I'll try to add more than just us two.
Yeah, and let's add Gizmondo. He just started his channel not long. He's our good friend. He started his channel not too long ago. We were there when he got his camera and all that stuff, and when he
Yeah.
did his first video. And it would be nice if we actually did that with him too. Like if we do another podcast, we can do him and talk about how Yu-Gi-Oh, because he also plays Yu-Gi-Oh, but also he likes to collect pop figures. He likes I don't know if he's too much into Pokemon. I'm not for sure, but I think he does collect Pokemon cards. We can talk about that. Basically, just talking. All three of us talking about the stuff we love or anything. Or questions that you guys have. Like if we do a live stream, like RandomVictory said, you guys can ask us questions. We can answer you guys back. And just talk.
Yeah, because I try to bring people in, like all my all in any of my videos. I try to bring someone in so I can play games with them and talk to them. But usually, either my friends are working. StarDuelist is working, but he also gets the time to be online and talk to people. Usually, my other friends, I'm probably gonna do more videos with Frame Perfect because his job schedule changed. Congratulations! I know this is pretty late, and I have congratulated you before, but congratulations on your getting a promotion. That was great.
Congrats.
And I know about Fancy Sheep and then Phantom 8 Productions. Too. They all have a job, and I'll probably start working with Fancy Sheep. And depending on my schedule, it will either upload more videos with way more content into them, or less videos. And I do have videos that I should probably be editing, but I have 3 videos uploaded for next week, so I think I'm fine.
I just recently uploaded one of my videos. Just like yesterday? Yesterday, yeah, it was
Yeah, the
yesterday.
Blu-ray, and I recommend you go see that because if you guys didn't see the movie, I recommend you go buy it because it's an extremely good movie.
Oh yeah, I watched it today again.
And then you get the promo card that you weren't able to get, and I mean you could always buy it online, but you get it
Yeah,
in the DVD with the movie, and that's always the best.
yeah, and also I kind of did some study because I did went to the movies with RandomVictory and Gizmondo and Tomato Well, but I was like, okay, I was gonna after I'd done the video, I was like, I wonder if it's gonna be the same rarity. I look at it, it's actually a different rarity. I mean, yeah, it's still gold rare, but it's not like gold secret rare. It's not like all
Oh,
glittery, not
okay.
like movie pack. There's like a small difference. I was like, oh, okay, so they give you a gold rare and the Blu-ray and the DVD, but you don't get the gold secret rare that you got when you bought your movie ticket at the theater.
Yeah, and I think the only card we could get was Obelisk, and then Slifer came in the
Megaton.
packs. Oh, I thought it was the packs because they had a different uh for the movie packs, the
Oh
Dark
yeah,
Side
yeah, in the
Dimensions.
movie, yeah, yeah. Uh, Slifer came in the movie pack
And it's actually
and the
like a
tin.
dollar something with free shipping on Amazon. So if you want that card too, I recommend you go get it.
I already have it.
Yeah, I just have one god card, but I don't really use the god cards. But another thing, um, if we don't upload videos, it doesn't mean because we have stopped. Usually it's because we're either working, we're
Or we're
eh,
thinking about ideas.
yeah, because I know StarDuelist. When it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't always want to spend all your money and run out in cards. I know sometimes you have to save for when you go out, you buy something, You always have to save.
Yeah, it's about saving for things. I mean, I would open things, but I'm right now saving money for stuff I can buy and open up for you guys right now.
Yeah, because
That's what I've been working on.
if any of you haven't seen my video yet, I'm probably gonna make this video not too long. Well, it's already been like an hour 44. It's probably gonna reach 2 hours, but it's gonna be it was my easiest ways to make money, and I know there's a lot of videos online that do that, and sometimes they're not real, the websites are taken, but these are legit, and I can prove it because StarDuelist in Swagbucks, he's actually made around 100 something recently, and he actually redeemed it for all of you guys. He's actually gonna buy for YouTube, he's gonna open it for you guys, a um called the Duelist booster box.
Yep. When it comes out, I pre-ordered it.
Yeah,
And I also pre-ordered 3 copies of the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Starter deck too when it comes out this month. And yes, I will be doing an opening on it.
As you see.
For you guys.
So all the videos I do are either, sometimes they're scams, like the how to give Terraria for free. I mean, you have Supersonical and some Nekos, and a Neko in the thumbnail. I'm pretty sure it's kind of fake. Actually, it's not kind of fake, it's completely fake. Um, but in that video, I was actually being sincere because in the top ways to make money easy, because usually top one is well, make a YouTube channel, but you have to get at least 1,000 subscribers to get paid, and you don't always get money. Like, I think my top, I made 11 cents in total since the beginning of reopening this channel. 11 cents, and 11 cents isn't even a freaking card.
I think the highest I got was like 8 cents.
See? So, and also I would actually have to announce this. I didn't really want to announce it, but we actually, StarDuelist, Gizmondo, and me actually have a bet going on. Is whoever reaches 100 subscribers first, and the other two actually have to put in money together to buy a booster box of their choice. I think we said a newer set, right?
Yeah, newer set. Nothing too expensive.
Well, for a Yu-Gi-Oh, it's fine if it's kind of older, but not like super old when it's super expensive. Like Pokemon.
I know what expensive set for Yu-Gi-Oh. The very first Yu-Gi-Oh pack, first edition.
Get me that base set. You know, get me the base set, the $1,000, or you might get me the error triangle, 10,000.
Yeah.
You know, like, but we're doing this, but it's because we want to bring more stuff to our channels for you to watch, and there will be more content, and we usually hang out a lot, but we never record it. But now, because all three of us have a channel, we were waiting for him, Gizmondo, to make a channel so we could all record as one, and you could see we're probably gonna do vlogs. I know, vlogs, right?
Yeah.
But it's gonna be vlogs for your enjoyment, and it's gonna be like us goofing off at Goodwill, Walmart, or any place, because that's usually what happens.
Yeah. Or we go card hunting. We go to different Walmarts and see if we can find any random stuff we want to buy, like
exactly
those random boxes. The one that Gizmondo opened up on his channel and on my channel too, or just go card hunting, hunt for cards.
Like a video that's actually being released at 7 a.m. Well, this video is actually going to be released later, but Monday, the 3rd of July, is gonna be a power mystery box, a downgrade version of the mega mystery box that Gizmondo opened, but that was one of the random things I bought in the last one I found, and that was actually amazing and some pretty good pulls. So I recommend to you go see that when it's released.
Yep.
And um, because we can't always buy cards because Yu-Gi-Oh
We're poor.
packs, yeah, that too, and
We're
packs
not
for
rich.
Yu-Gi-Oh, totally not me.
No, I'm not. I'm not Bill Gates. I wish I was.
Yeah, spend all
That
my
means I
money
will
on
make.
those cards.
You know what? No, I'd rather be the creator of Sony because I like Sony. Oh, okay. This is going somewhere off the Microsoft and Sony war going on, but just in my opinion, don't hate me for this. I'd rather go with Sony instead because I feel like they're more advanced. They like they created Blu-ray before Microsoft ever did, but don't hate on me. Please don't hate on me.
Yeah, don't
I'm
hit on him because I'm gonna say this to trigger everyone. I don't really care. Yeah, I have a PC. I don't have a Switch. I have an Xbox, but don't have a PlayStation. But that doesn't mean I like the Xbox. The only
yeah.
game I like from it is the Dragon Ball Z games. There is,
I mean,
yeah,
I like Xbox too because I love Halo. Halo is like my favorite game on Xbox. I love it. But just saying, I'd rather go with Sony. If I was gonna be a rich person where I can buy all the cards in the world I want, I'll be Sony. I'll be the
because the
creator.
game I play the most is mostly on my 3DS, and that's Monster Hunter, Shin Megami Tensei, and a few other games. Because I really, I prefer Nintendo. I really don't enjoy much of Mario games, but yeah, play a lot of Nintendo, but not a lot of. I probably play a lot of PlayStation if I get a PS4 because of that Monster Hunter World, you know. Oh ho.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that. I just bought a game recently, Crash Bandicoot. But
Yep.
I'm happy they brought him back. So much memories. But yeah,
And uh, I mean, what I was gonna say that Yu-Gi-Oh, their packs haven't really raised in price. Pokemon, you can see the big difference in price, but you can see that we're always trying to release these content. I mean, I try when I release a random video, especially that my collection. That was just a random video from a box I got for free, and when I do these openings for TCGs, it gets pretty expensive because Pokemon is a super expensive card game, just like Magic. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is expensive, but it's a decent price sometimes. Like someone, a card shop online is actually selling um, Pendulum's
Evolution
Evolution for
for like
48.
and yeah, actually that's a recent set too. Usually new sets cost more expensive, but that's actually a good price right there.
And that's a good discount, especially because the disc uh and the original price on the website was 79, but they had a discount, or 89, but they had a discount for 48. And usually the shipping, because I buy a lot from them, I would leave a disc. I'm putting a lot of links and I'm probably not going to remember them all, but it's Cool Stuff Inc. And they have like this leveling up system that gives you discounts the more you buy. And
Mm.
yeah, you find some good deals sometimes. And
But yeah, it's
that's
also another cheap set too. Is on Amazon. They have Secrets for Eternity, a booster box for $35.
mhm. And as you can see, that's why sometimes we don't always release videos on TCG products. Like StarDuelist, his newest video was for a DVD, but it had a card in it, but it wasn't TCG like you were expecting. But the thing is, because it it's expensive. Card games are pretty expensive, and because we live in Arizona, we have taxes. If we went somewhere else, it could have been like Oregon. I come from there, so I know that they don't have to pay taxes, but sometimes the stuff are pretty expensive, a
Sadly, I
bit
come
more
from a
expensive.
sadly where I come from a state where it's expensive to live. California. So Joey.
Mhm. And that's why you don't always see videos being released. Um, when I have notifications on for practically everyone, and actually everyone, and but because I have two different accounts, I have my main account where I subscribe to all my friends, and then I have a second account where I see extra videos. But the problem is sometimes I'm not always logged into my main account, my Random Victory account, so I won't always see notifications until I switch it.
Oh
Or
yeah, I'm not. Okay. I'm just gonna say this. Don't forget the bell ups too. Don't forget to click the little bell button,
yeah,
because if you do that, you'll be on a notification. So whenever we upload a video, you're like the first one. You're the first people to know that the video is out.
yeah.
So don't forget the bells too. Just a little thing.
Because for my videos, especially the gaming ones, sometimes they're recorded 2 weeks in advance or 1 week in advance, and they're just released in those days because it takes so long to upload because my internet sucks so bad. So um, yeah, except for TCG videos, sometimes they're 2 days, sometimes they're one day, sometimes they're uploaded the same day, just because they're so short. But I still have to edit them and all that. Cut
Yeah,
out
and
the
then your internet's gonna say estimate loading time forever.
my Steam.
Let's just hope your YouTube videos doesn't say that.
All right, we have 4 minutes, and we're gonna try to wrap this up. Because it's been going on for 2 hours, and I think a 3 hour, anything past 2 hours is a pretty long podcast. I could say this wasn't a podcast, but this was a college or university lecture on
Or just,
TCG.
yeah, both Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh.
But what I'm gonna say last, well, not probably. We still have 4 minutes, but there's a lot of people on YouTube that do this kind of stuff just like us. But I hope you guys stay and enjoy what we create for you guys. But because if you enjoy us and if you tell the other people, other YouTubers about us, that also means that you'll be seeing probably collabs. We're collabing because we're 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 good friends. We known each
Oh
other.
yeah.
He's known me since my freshman year in high school, and I known him since sophomore year.
Mhm.
And that's why you see a lot of our videos together, and not so many of Frame Perfect or anyone else, but you'll see a lot of us because now I try to keep everything equal when it comes to friendship, but just because we hang out a lot, and we'll try to do a lot more stuff,
Yeah.
and like I think we're planning to go to FanFest, another kind of like Phoenix Comic Con, but more towards one certain group. So maybe we're going. Uh, that's towards the October. So
Ooh.
hope you guys see it. Uh,
If you can cosplay there, it's basically Halloween.
yep. And it's gonna
It's
take because
Halloween a little early.
college, and the thing is, I'll probably have more time to record because I'm gonna be having classes in the morning, and they're gonna be online classes for all of you. So you'll probably see more videos, but if I even feel like it, because sometimes I'm super lazy.
You need a Monster Reborn on your soul.
Oh yeah, that's why some of my videos were like a month apart since I restarted uploading because I I just didn't have any motivation, and not motive. I did have videos recorded. I just didn't edit them, and then it was the end of the school year. We had testing, and
It was a busy time for you.
for seniors especially because we were graduating, taking tests early. We had to finish, catch up with all our classes, and I know I helped
Uh,
one of my friends. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but he actually paid me to do his work, so that's the only way he passed.
final exams.
Yeah.
Waking up early in the morning just to take 3 or 4 tests that determine your fate if you're going to graduate or if you're going to stay a super senior.
And if anyone or any of you are wondering, yes, I did pass with flying colors. Um, yeah,
Me too.
I'm not that bad of a student. sometimes. I mean, I
Un-
bother
Unless
my teachers.
unless you're just well, me, when I was in school in high school, I mean, I did my work, but I really didn't study that much. I wasn't really a studier, but I still passed though. I mean, I still got
Me
the
too.
concept, but I didn't really put time into studying. And also, yeah, sometimes I'll get my stuff done early, and sometimes I'll fall asleep in class.
Yeah.
Just because I already got my stuff done. So, or like we do a test and I finish like early, and the teachers usually say, "Okay, no phones out, but you can sleep. You can put your heads down." So most of the time, I would just sleep after like a test is done.
Yeah. So our time is done, but I'd like to say one last thing that um, if you enjoy our content, please turn on notifications. Please subscribe, like, and comment to both our channels so you can spread this community even bigger. And don't let these card games die. Bring back your friends, yank them from the ear, and pull them back into the card game no matter what, because this is what you enjoy, and other people must. Well, don't force them, but try to
Spread,
bring
spread,
people.
yeah, spread the joy.
Yeah.
Spread the joy of Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic,
Branch.
any card game you play, including if you play a dead game like Bakugan. Spread it.
Yeah.
Just spread it.
Branch this community, and you'll meet even more friends than you ever met before. And that's how I met most of mine. So, that's all I like to say. So, I'll repeat this again. So, please subscribe, like, and comment. Share with your friends. And until next time.
Later, guys.